Hey witches, how you doing? Happy New Year! It's 2022. It's the first day of the year, and I wanted to share a little bit about my my process of setting my New Year's intentions and reviewing the previous year and how I tie it all back into my witchy practice. So before we get into it, for those of you who are new around here, my name is Taya. Welcome to the channel. We talk about all things witchcraft. And for those of you who are returning viewers, maybe coming in from another video, thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate it. We've had great growth over the last year. So all of you, please consider subscribing. It's a really great way to help support the channel. So, intentions. I think the most powerful time of year is right now. The earlier morning hours, the earlier hours of the day, on the first day of the new year. We've got an entire year behind us and an entire year stretched out in front of us. It's this liminal time where we're kind of still have half a foot in 2021, but we've got, you know, the other half is already into 2022, and it's this space where we can sort of sit back and reflect on the entire year behind us and on the entire year that's spread out full of possibility in front of us. So what I like to do is first I sit down and I make a list of sort of what I've learned in 2021. Not just about witchcraft, but just everything in my life about what have I learned in 2021. So the first thing, it was a tough year. Right, with COVID, and you know, I live in Alberta, Canada, and it's crazy here. The government is ridiculous and does nothing. In fact, like contributes to like our fourth wave. It was brutal. We're heading into a fifth wave. The government is just all over the place, and it's been a really difficult year. But I remember a saying from Mr. Rogers that says, "Look for the helpers." And that's what I spent my year doing, was looking for the helpers, looking for the people who were doing what they were supposed to be doing. Never mind that one person at the grocery store with their mask down underneath their nose. I was paying attention to the 25 other people in the store who had their masks properly applied. Do you know what I'm saying? And what I learned, or what I can take away, is that really the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? The media attention goes to those, you know, the anti-vaxxers, the anti-maskers. They're the ones that get the press and the media, but they're not the majority. Something else I learned is that routines are important to me. I kind of got out of my routines, and I suffer greatly for it. I learned not to let my mental health guard down, to trust myself and to advocate for myself. Definitely something I learned. I learned that my physical body is intricately connected to my mental health, and that is definitely an idea I have to take forward and work with in the new year. I learned that my physical body is 45 years old and it needs attention. I need to stop taking it for granted. I've put on some weight. I've suffered a back injury. I had a lymph node issue that was just a bit of a red flag. And all of this is just reminding me that I'm not 20 anymore. And I need to start minding my physical body just as much as I mind my mental health. And finally, I learned that I can accomplish great things when I combine my passions and my talents. I started off the year finding the Red Thread Academy and started studying with them. And I've loved every minute of it. I'm doing well, I'm acing all my coursework, because again, it's something I'm passionate about. And again, it's one of my talents is studying. I love studying. And then I created the Edmonton Traditional Witchcrafters Guild. In August, I started putting that together and really got it rolled out in September. We had our first course offerings in November. And again, when I focus on my talents and my passions, great things can happen. So, all that being said, what are we going to take forward into 2022? How are we going to set these resolutions for 2022? And how do I do it in a witchy way? So obviously a big part of my witchcraft practice is sharing my voice. So for sharing my voice, of course, I'm here on YouTube. So I want to continue to share 2 videos a week. My goal last year was to hit 2,000 subscribers, and I hit, I think, 1,064 when we ended out the year. So my goal for this year is 3,000 subscribers. And to help move towards that, my goal this year is to start consistently using front cards so that when my videos show up, there's something fancy to look at. So you'll see that on the beginning of this video once I get it posted up. With my guild, again, that's another sharing my voice. That's part of, I consider sharing my voice as part of my personal witchcraft practice. I want to double our membership from 33 to 66. I want to offer 3 new courses. I have 2 courses I offer right now. I'd like to offer 3 more from myself. Plus, I'd like to find 2 new trainers or teachers who can offer at least 2 courses in addition to my own. For the Red Thread Academy, for my study, I want to finish my first year, and I'd like to really establish a study group for the Red Thread Academy here in Edmonton. Again, that's going to take some collaboration. It's going to take some finagling, right? I'm going to have to work all those details out with Lorelei, but I'm really hoping that that's something that we can do in 2022. And then to my personal practice. I want to feel connected again, right? That's the feeling. I want to feel connected to my personal practice again. And a lot of that comes down to routines. And I let a lot of my routines go. I'd like to take a spiritual trip of some sort. I won't say to where, but I just would really, I'd at least like to start planning a spiritual trip. And then I have 2 things that are sort of, how will we call them? They're really mundane, but they're not. And I'm going to link them back into my personal practice, and you'll see how we do that. So the first one is my space, my house, right? I want to start working on getting like this mess of a room swapped over. Basically, I had a business that I just stopped last February, really, and I never closed it down properly. So that comes back to this office space and having it transitioned over into like a proper witchy room and a proper working space for my craft, as well as reclaiming there's a huge space in my basement that's full of inventory that needs to be dealt with. And getting back to my cleaning routines. Now you're like, how does this really relate to witchcraft? Well, the way I look at it is there is a spirit of my home, and I've been neglecting the spirit of my home through mundane things like, you know what, I haven't been dusting regularly, and it seems silly, right? But the dust starts to pile up, and that's disrespectful to the spirit of my home. My home is my protector. It's my safe place. It's where I am most of the time. And so I need to treat it with respect. And so that's part of those like regular cleaning routines I need to get back to. And then cleaning out the office, cleaning out that basement space is, again, making the space usable. Instead of just this stagnant of like mess, I need to straighten it out, and I need to get that done. And it's not going to happen overnight, but I think if I pick away at it over time, it's something I can accomplish this year. So you can see how that kind of relates back to my personal practice and working with the spirit of my home and honoring the spirit of my home. And then the next part of my personal practice is incorporating my physical body. This is so cheesy, but my body is my temple. And I have always very much taken my body for granted. I've always been underweight, if not just at a good weight. I've always been underweight. I've always been strong. I've always been healthy. And that's starting to change as I'm getting older. And I need to start prioritizing my physical body, because without it, I don't have me. And I need to put it up on par with my mental health. And my mental health and my mindfulness, my spiritual practice has always been at the forefront. And I need to move my physical body into that space as well. And integrate my body with my mindfulness and my spiritual practices. And again, some of that is just losing some weight, walking my dog every day, and I'd like to take up a yoga practice. And again, yoga is a physical movement, physically stretching, it's strengthening your body, but it's also a mindful practice, right? So again, bringing in part of my spirituality, my spiritual practice in with my physical body. So I hope that sort of helps you see how you can kind of, like, my witchcraft is part of my everyday. And so all of my goals for the new year all center around my witchcraft, because it's the core of who I am. Whether it's sharing my voice, or, you know, going to school, or working on my personal practice, working on my personal health, working on my space in my home, it all relates back in a holistic way to my witchcraft practice. So how about you? What sort of resolutions are you making for the new year? How do they relate back to your witchcraft practice? I'd love to know. Leave us a comment. And otherwise, that's our video for today. And we'll catch you in the next one. Mwah! Thanks so much, you guys. Happy New Year.